Happy Paddy's Day, everyone. Hope you got a cold Guinness in front of you and you're ready for another episode. Today, we're doing things a little bit differently. We're going to talk about the Oscars. This is our first annual Oscars review, and then we'll get into the movie. Today, we're doing the replacements. Remember, like and subscribe from where you get your podcasts and follow us on Instagram, In the Mood for a Movie. And if you have any thoughts, feedback, send us an email, inthemoodforamovie@gmail.com. Let's get to the show. Welcome to In the Mood for a Movie. I'm your host, Jez, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Brad. B-Rad, what's up?
Touchdown, baby. Can't wait to do this one.
This is a movie podcast where we have a conversation about films one of us picks. The catch is, it will be the first time the other person is seeing it. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, firstly, we're going to start with a quick Oscars recap. May not be too quick, but let's see how we go. Brad, what were your first impressions?
My first impression, overall, I thought it was really good, actually. I'll get into it a little bit in a bit, but I was actually really excited for this one because I had skin in the game, as they call it. I had a horse in the race that I really, really wanted them to do well, and I'll get into that. But I have to say off the bat, Matt Berry doing the voiceover was amazing. Get him back next year. Leanne and I, we always used to make fun along with Matt, not at Matt, in his voice in the TV show What We Do in the Shadows. I don't know if you've seen that, but that is pretty funny. And he talks like that in that TV show. So, mate, he was awesome. I loved him.
Just in saying that, all I thought was when Will Arnett was reading out the nominees, I was like, oh my God, he's got his Lego DC Batman voice on. I was like, this is great.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Yeah, so look, we'll give a little recap, maybe just kind of talk about a couple of things, and then we'll end with our winners, losers, and anything else we want to mention. So first off, Conan, love him. We're a big household Conan fan in this household. Didn't think he did too well in the second joke coming back from ad break, but that's all right. And I think he could tell a couple of times and the crowd weren't with him when he, but again, I thought he did a pretty good job. I did think whoever was in charge of the walk-off music during the acceptance speeches, well, I'd had very little tolerance, was having a very bad day. If anyone was pausing, bang, the music was starting. I felt straight away. I did enjoy, I can't remember which exactly, but it was one of the first awards where they actually got the person to stop and they able to continue the award. But then when the F1 people were up, the little Irish man, when he did his little speech, and then the next guy was like, thanks everyone. And then the music played, you heard him like tug because the microphone hadn't been turned off yet. And he's like, we didn't thank the cast and crew. And
Yeah.
just shut it off. But I did think that the K-pop demon people got screwed over the most.
Well, I got thoughts on that because I actually, me and Leanne, because she had the deaf as well, so we were just so engrossed in it. But I was going to say, I kind of agree with them shutting the mic off. Okay, if they're giving out one Oscar and 4 people get up, you can't have 4 people doing one speech for one Oscar. Now, there was a group, I can't remember who it was, but they got up and they got 5 Oscars between the 5 people, and they each did 10 seconds thanking someone, and that was like really choreographed like really well, and I thought that was perfect, and they didn't shut the mic off for that. So I get it, because you'd be there for like 7 hours if everyone's giving a 10-minute speech, especially if you've got 4 people for one Oscar.
Riddle me this then, Brad. You're a film editor. You've been doing 18, 20-hour days for 4 months, 6 months to get it all done. You're telling your wife and kids at home, don't worry, babe. When I win the Oscar, I'm going to say this is dedicated to you.
Yeah.
You get there, the person in front goes, thanks a lot. You take a second to get to the microphone. Music, you're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's true. Did you want me to go back on my thoughts on Conan?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I was going to say, I thought he was pretty good. I think he's beloved in our household too. I think sometimes that he can go overboard. Like when he was doing the whole winning the Oscars skit and, he's putting the
Yeah.
crown and the robe and he's like standing up there. Like that was, I thought, a bit too much. But I thought the intro, which was based on weapons, and then the outro, which was based on one battle after the other, I thought that was really clever and very good. So I really like those.
Unless you haven't seen one battle after another and there's a massive spoiler in it. But apart from that,
or if you haven't
but,
seen weapons as well. Yeah.
but I liked the intro. I felt like they did a lot of the different movies in the intro because they did like F1 and a couple of the other ones too.
Yeah.
Lots of loose tongues during it and the thank you speeches, a couple of shits and fucks, but live television people, that's what we're here for.
Live TV.
And the first ad break that we went to, this was the Australian broadcast. I was like, oh my God, like Leo, how amazing. Like they're doing a little thing of his show. And then I realized it was a Rolex ad. I was like, what the hell? But I was like, why are they giving Leo all his flowers now?
And they did one on Zendaya as well.
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, like it's a bit of a background on Zendaya. And then
I was about to say,
ad.
they only did the Leo once and then they did Zendaya. But then I got me thinking, with all the awesome Super Bowl ads, this is more watched than the Super Bowl. Surely they should have like Oscars ads. It doesn't make sense to me, but there you go, YouTube. When you guys take over, there's a free money cash cow for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to move on to the acts, unless you want to mention anything else, I guess, from your thoughts of the show before we get to the acts.
No, I mean, obviously, there's a controversy we want to talk about, and I'll talk about my favorite award or my skin in the game that I hinted at before. But I think you said that you did was it an Oscars bet or a spread or a table or something? What did you do there?
Whoa, Nelly. We'll get to that in a sec. We'll get the people what they want. We got to, got to make sure people stay on the podcast. So we'll get to that in a second. I'll talk about the acts though. Love the Sinners Lied to You song. I already loved the song anyway. I just thought it was so good how they got the crew up there dancing. Such a great song. After I saw Sinners, I didn't realize that vampires had to ask to come into the house. So, I had a big thing with all the girls. Whenever I wanted to go into the room, I was like, can I come in? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, I'm just a little Irish folk band. I just want to sing a song. But like we would have the girls singing the two Irish songs in the bath. So I really, really did enjoy it. And then Dragon Demon Hunters song, a lot of fun, golden. Did you get into K-pop Dragon Demon Hunters, or did that miss your household because the little man was too young?
Well, the little man's too young, but all I hear about at work is people talking about the K-pop Demon Hunters. But to me, I got a mate, Dan, who used to live with me at one point, and he was so into Korean rap and Korean pop and stuff. And this is probably back in the 2010s, roughly. So yeah, K-pop is not what it is today in terms of like what I saw. But you're right, the K-pop song I thought was actually pretty good. So
okay, cool. Anything else you want to add before we get to the memorials?
No, we'll get into that.
Okay, so memorials. I thought they did a really terrific job of this. We lost a lot of great people last year, but I guess we lose them every year as well. I thought the Rob Reiner Memorial was just great. Like Billy Crystal, very good speaker. I really enjoyed how they got a lot of the cast members from previous casts out on stage to give a final bow and then turn around and give a bow to him. Fave Rob Reiner movie, Princess Bride, I think I'd have to say, but A Few Good Men very, very close behind. You got a fave Rob Reiner?
Yeah, it's definitely A Few Good Men for me. I like that movie quite a lot. And you're right, it was a very surprising. I thought I didn't realize I'd do something like that, and I thought it was very good. I haven't seen an in memoriam like that before, where they have like cutouts and speeches and stuff halfway through it. So yeah. I thought it was good, and it was kind of like a Field of Dreams-esque moment when they all sort of walked out together. I thought that was really good, and an homage to a lot of his movies over the time. So yeah, it was quite good.
Yeah, and then I thought Rachel McAdams, she did a really good job. At first, I was like, "What the fuck is she talking for Diane Keaton?" But then I realized that she was in a movie with her. I thought it was really sweet. They seemed like they had a really good friendship. Favorite Diane Keaton movie for me, Something's Got to Give. Any thoughts on the Diane Keaton?
Yeah,
chat?
I think I thought that was done really well too. I think my favorite movie, what's the one with Steve Martin in it? and his daughter's getting married. Father of the Bride.
Oh,
Father of the
Father of the
Bride.
Bride.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that. I thought that was great. So yeah.
Awesome. And then I forgot about Michael Marsden. I was like, oh my God, what a
Oh my
legend.
gosh. Yeah, I know. I
And
know.
then Val Kilmer, I was like, oh, Val. I was like, I actually thought to myself, if it wasn't so many Oscar-winning, celebrities that had passed away, Val may have got his own little segment. Robert Redford, when Babs came out, I was like, here we go, we're on now.
Yeah.
Babs is looking pretty great, I thought. I thought her speech was very heartfelt. I loved how she was talking about Babs and then how she sent him a letter and she signed it off Babs. And then she broke out into song, which I thought
Yeah.
she might have, but she didn't even give anyone warning. She just picked up the mic and started singing.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Robert Redford
Oh,
tribute?
I absolutely love that. That was probably my favorite part. Because I remember a few years ago, you asked me to come and attend a lecture by C.J. Johnson. Where was that at? The Sydney Royal
Art
Botanic,
Gallery.
Sydney Art Gallery. Pardon me. And he
New
did
South
a
Wales, I think.
New South Wales Art Gallery, and he did a whole segment on the Sundance, and talked about the the whole creating of the Sundance Festival, which is what Robert Redford was known to have created. So a lot of indie movies and movies that really didn't get a chance got a platform there. So in a way, he is quite a big part of cinema history. And to your point, you mentioned there earlier, like there was so many people, sadly, on this one that I knew or knew of, and maybe that's just me getting older in life and knowing who these people are. That yeah, it was it struck a few chords, I think. So yeah,
They'll have to do a whole show when Jack goes. All right, but not yet, Jack. But when
yeah,
you do, I'm sure there's going to be a whole show for you. Now, one thing that really put a bee in my body was Oscar winner Robert Duvall. WTF? What was that? Didn't even get a speech. Like, are you kidding me? It's Robert
yeah,
friggin' Duvall. Like,
yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah, I know, because I mean, I think he's just as big as potentially other ones. But I mean, even Val Kilmer. I mean, I know he didn't win, but he's quite a movie star as well. So I guess you can't sort of celebrate everyone because, like we were talking about before, you'd be there for 7 hours. But no, I think you're right on that one.
Can't celebrate everyone, but surely Godfather, Days of Thunder, like,
Apocalypse Now,
yeah. Are
baby.
you kidding? Are
Either
you
you're
kidding me?
surfing or you're fighting. It's just the best. Yeah.
Now, what the time everyone's been waiting for. What will be 13 minutes in? Jez's bets. So I had two bets. Won one, lost one. Amy Magden for weapons. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Gerway and Jez. $1.83 in the back pocket. No big deal. What I lost on was best supporting actor. So I went Skarsgård, hoping that the voters would give him a lifetime achievement and then give him a bit of a bump because knowing that Sean Penn's too cool for school and he's not going to attend the Oscars. But then I didn't think Americans don't really watch movies that are in American, or as Pete Hegseth says, I'm American, I speak American. I knew that retroactively, not bitter, but maybe would have changed my vote. But also I think Sean Penn was paying like $1 nothing.
Yeah. I've got a bit on Sean Penn. Do you want me to go into that one now?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Obviously Sean Penn was a no-show. He did win the SAG, so it was a pretty good indication. So Jeremy, you should have called me before placing that bet that he would probably win the Oscar too. He probably should have shown up. Kieran Culkin going, Sean Penn couldn't be here tonight or didn't want to. I'm like, shh, bro, don't say that. Like, that makes it sound like he just completely does not want to be there. And you shouldn't comment. If you're gonna comment, just go all out and say Shawnee's in a cocaine and tequila fueled orgy with a couple of models, and that's why he can't go for broke. But I think it came out later that he's actually doing a documentary about the Ukrainian war and he's like in Ukraine.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm going to give him a pass for not showing up.
I was about to say, do you know what he's doing? Apparently he's meeting President Vladimir Zelensky. So
yes.
maybe that's a little bit more important.
Interestingly enough, Sean Penn became the fourth actor to win 3 Oscars. So he's got 2 Best Actors, 1 Best Supporting Actor. Walter Brennan is one who got 3 Best Supporting Actors.
I can name them for you.
Do you know the other 2?
Are you talking male or female?
No, male.
DDL.
Yep, your boyfriend.
Yeah. I don't know the other, but I think the others won like 4.
No, the other one won 3 for 2 for Best Actor and 1 for Best Supporting Actor. And you actually mentioned him before, the one and only Jack Nicholson.
Oh, Jack. Okay, yeah, I should have said it. And then I know the girls, Meryl Streep and Jen's favorite, Catherine McDermott.
Mm-hmm.
They both won 3.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add on the Oscars before we get to the winners, losers?
I've got the Oscars controversy. Should I chuck that in here now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's always controversy at the Oscars, but comedian actor Kamal Najini sparked controversy at this Oscars by making a joke about Schindler's List, referring to it as Schindler's Post-it. So the remark was made during a monologue about making long films shorter. So he was saying instead of one battle after another, just call it one battle. And he said, make it Schindler's Post-it instead of Schindler's List. So I don't really think Holocaust references go down too well in jokes, and I think it's sparked a lot of fury and criticism, probably rightly so, I would say, from viewers and social media. So I don't think he intended to do that, but it didn't sound too good when he did it. And when he did it, I was like, oh, don't know about that one, mate.
Okay. Yeah, I actually watched his presentation yesterday on YouTube because I missed it live because I was doing other stuff, working. But so I missed the tie. But I'll get your thoughts on the tie. But when I watched it later, I thought that he handled the tie very well.
Yes.
Whereas and I guess to me, where he's like, okay, guys, no one panic. We'll get the first people up. They can do their speeches. We'll get the second people up. They can do their speeches. Do you reckon he got the heads up?
I don't know, but you're right. That was handled very well, and he even made a joke, which was a good joke, about how it's for short films, but they turn out to be the longest speeches of the night. So, he can be funny, and I thought he handled that part well.
Yeah. My only other thing was Bridesmaids 25 reunion. Who knew Bridesmaids was popular? I haven't seen it. I was like, all right, ladies.
I've seen it. It was fine. It's too much. It's too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess it's like them bringing out like Dog Day Afternoon if in the 2000 Oscars. That's how old we are now. So
yeah.
There we go. All right. So winners. I had PTA finally winning his Oscar. I was going to bet on him, but he was paying like $1 nothing, so it didn't work. One battle after another, 6 awards. Winner, Sean Penn, as you mentioned, 3 Oscars in company with the Royals now. Sinners, 4 awards. I thought they did pretty good. And Michael B. Jordan, the man. Autumn Akapar, best cinematography and first female winner. Yeah, the girls. K-pop Demon Hunters, Golden, which was Lily's choice to win as well. Koreans, did they win? Yes, I think so. A tie, love a tie. Good on them. Ed Harris, always winning in life, that bloke. That's Amy Magdalne's husband, if people don't know. Disney. Disney was a big winner, being able to advertise 3 of their upcoming movies through the segments. Devil Wears Prada 2, Avengers, Mandalorian. Like, how good. And then movies. Are we back?
Are we back?
Maybe. Don't know. Maybe. Okay. Any other winners?
I'll save my one for the end. I'll save my highlight for the end. Yeah.
Losers. Chalamet. And Marty Supreme, I guess.
Marty Supreme.
No
nine nominations. No Oscars. No love, baby.
Spoilers, if you haven't seen some of the movies, there was quite a bit of spoilers. Presenters who were too slow in the acceptance speech. Trump seemed to be a bit of a loser on the night, and Demi Moore's outfit. Any losers?
No, I think you sort of covered it. I think the biggest call out for me has definitely got to be Marty Supreme. And in saying that, I guess on the reverse side, I know we just did winners, but sentimental value for me, something that I haven't seen but got so much love, I felt, for an international movie with so many nominations across the board. It's definitely one I'm going to watch.
Great. I only had one most egregious, and that was Robert Duvall not getting his flowers. What was the winner you wanted to add, or was that sentimental value?
No, the highlight for me. So I was rooting for this person so hard, and I would have absolutely died if they missed out on their Oscar. And I was cheering and clapping when they won. and it's funny because part of the intro was based on that film, and I thought you can't do that now and then not give it to them. So you mentioned before Amy Magdalen, what a legend! Her performance in Weapons was unreal. She received a nomination for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress for a performance as a woman in a difficult marriage in Twice in a Lifetime in 1985, and then won 40 years later for Weapons. So it's the longest gap between two nominations for an actress. I mean, the conviction and belief, like the not giving up spirit to keep going and seeing your dream come true later, to me is just so inspirational. And I've actually seen a couple of her reels where it's comparing her lines from the actual script of the movie compared to what she actually said in the movie, and she enhanced them so well. Director Zach Credder said to her, "Go nuts," and she did, and it absolutely paid off. So well done. So happy for her. I love her, and I love her husband Ed Harris too, that you mentioned before. So that was just such a highlight for me, and Leanne can attest to me just pretty much just screaming with happiness when she won. So yeah.
I just think of The Rock. I cannot follow that order.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved the best part of her speech was like, I shaved my legs and now I'm wearing pants.
Now I'm wearing pants, yeah. She just said, but can you imagine her daughter kind of like, oh, by the way, my mum's Amy Madigan and my dad's Ed Harris. Like, bro, like, what a call out.
All right, moving on. So see you guys next year for the Oscars. The Replacements, 2001 sports comedy starring Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman. Sorry, 2000, I should have said. Brad, anything interesting or anything you remember about 2000? Is this the year you became a man? Popping your cherry?
I know our mum listens to this, so I won't mention that after your comments about popping cherries. But
yeah, she told me off earlier tonight. She said,
"What I'll do, I'll wink so our viewers can listen to if I did." But I was going to say apart from that, the biggest memory from 2000, for me was definitely the Sydney Olympics. So that was such a vibe, man. Everyone was in the best mood. Everyone was just so helpful. It was great mateship. It was seriously like, what a time to be around. I remember Warrawee Station, where you and I grew up. It's probably Sydney's small suburb, I reckon. It has like 2 streets, I swear. But it has a train station, and they had volunteers on that station every day to make sure someone could assist tourists. It was great. The trains ran on time.
For Warrawee.
And often, I know it must have cost the taxpayers heaps to maintain that. But yeah, it was such a great memory for me. How about you?
So just to confirm, everyone, he winked. So for me was Torpedo as well. I had then Survivor airs, up to Survivor 50 now, guys. .com crash, Gladiator, on my command, unleash hell. Bush v. Gore election ends up in Supreme Court. The Sims was released. PS2 launched as well, best-selling console ever.
What a console.
Was costing you money to send a text message. Shaq and Kobe's first ring. Putin becomes president. Technically the 31st of December, but Aussie, that'd be the first for us. Eminem, Marshall Mathers, and then R.I.P. Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Do you know who won the Super Bowl that year?
I do. It was the Greatest Show on Turf, yeah? The Rams.
Yeah, it's the Greatest Show on Turf. St. Louis Rams. Kurt Warner, baby, MVP.
Torrey Holt, Marshall Falk. What a team, man. Seriously.
Talking about that, we are doing our NFL Dynasty draft at the moment. Any blunders or good picks you want to tell the viewers about?
Well, I was going to say recency bias, as you like to say. The picks have slowed down now, sadly, although they sped up in the last hour for some reason. But I'm thinking quietly confident. My team's looking pretty solid. I know, arsehole, you stole my number 1 pick that I was meant to get, which was the Bears quarterback, whose name I've forgotten right now.
Caleb Williams, we trust.
Yep. But I still think my best pick to date is probably Devon Akane at 3.01. So,
nice.
Can't believe he's available at round 3. That was great. How about you?
2 quarterback lead as well, Piddle, just before you fall off your chair. So, look, mistakes have been made. I'm not sure about my Bucky Irving pick. I don't really like anyone on my team, to be honest with you, but I think Caleb Williams have a good run, and I hope Jonathan Taylor as well. does well. And we're doing IDP, just sorry for all the people who don't follow fantasy out there. So Max Crosby, hopefully he
Yeah, good
gets
pick.
to a team because he doesn't have a team at the moment to go to. Okay, before we begin, spoiler alert, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't seen the replacements, please note there will be spoilers. So, plot summary. A failed college quarterback leads a team of misfit replacements players during an NFL strike, finding redemption and proving that heart matters more than talent. Distributed by Warner Brothers, the movie to me feels very Disney, even though it's not. I felt very familiar as well. I think the blueprint for these type of sports movies, you got to have some bullies, you got to have some hurdles to overcome, you got to have an underdog story. Um, you know, I guess a love interest as well. I don't
Mm.
date football players. All over him though after the week one, wasn't she? Um, I did feel younger watching it. I really enjoyed the punk rock kind of intro music, and I kind of felt like it was like a teen comedy. At times, I felt like, is this a high school, a college team, or an NFL team? I wasn't quite sure where they were trying to go with it. But, classic movie to me. What did you think?
Well, my first thought was after what 4 episodes now, it's good to finally have a movie with songs in it. So I thought that was good. For me, it's one of those movies that is easy to like in the moment. So I liked it how they were amateurs making stupid plays and mistakes. It would have been shit if they were all pros and the whole charm and heart of the movie would have disappeared. Like you mentioned, I got my teenage vibes on from this movie. That kind of turned down sort of American Pie, Disney sort of style things, I thought. Like I mentioned, the soundtrack was great, but big songs, big heart, and great warmth. Great warmth through the movie.
Yeah. And look, we'll get into kind of a little bit later about like the shots and scenes, because I thought the actual action shots of the NFL is awesome, and I still think that it's awesome today. Love seeing John Madden, just delightful having him in commentary. I
Mm.
was thinking whilst I was watching it, do you think John Madden should still be commentating all the video games, or is that disrespectful? Because if I was EA Sports or whoever, I would still have him as the commentator.
Well, I think I think it's respectful to continue to keep calling that game Madden. After all, he was the one that told EA to go to. I think he famously said, "If it's not 11 on 11, then it's not football." Because I think EA first came to him with the sports game, but it wasn't 11 on 11 football, and he wouldn't put his name to it. But now that he's passed on, I think maybe it's always time for some new person to get their shot at doing a bit of commentary. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
don't
it
I don't
makes
mind with new
sense.
people. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense. It'd be a bit weird, I guess, if he's like Patrick Surtain, like with
Yeah.
the interception.
Yeah.
Brad, why do you love sport?
To me, the reason I love sport, I think Herm Edwards summed it up the best, who's an NFL coach or a former NFL coach. You play to win the game. So, um, I love winning, but more importantly, I love the camaraderie that you get from sport. Having teammates that will go into battle alongside you, have your back, and you're sharing those moments together. I think that's just, it's great, and those memories live on. How about you? Why do you love
Yeah,
sport?
look, completely understand what you're saying. When you get down in the trenches with the lads, and then nothing better than having a couple of beers afterwards and just talking about the game, laughing about like things that went well, things that didn't
Things
go
that didn't
well,
go well. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
everything else in between. Look, it's an escape. I like one of the oldest entertainments. Like the thing about it back in the day, the gladiators at the Colosseum. So
Mm.
escape, entertainment. Don't mind the punt as well, like the community aspect, as you're saying. And I guess the fitness and really even like just the mental sort of recharge that you can have during it. What's your favorite sport?
It changes, I think, but recency bias again, and that's my key word for today. I probably like college football the most, and then
Ah,
NFL. But college football to me is just so watchable. I really enjoy that.
yeah, I haven't got into college football. So I don't know if this is in order or not, but I've got test cricket as
Oh yeah.
first. Then I have rugby because I'm cheating and I'm classifying rugby league and rugby union in under the same one. NFL, then basketball. So as I mentioned, I thought the football sequences were awesome. They were pretty good hits. Sounds like they had like a pretty good stunt crew. All the on board whilst they were doing it, but I really liked how they played out. Even like the kind of long angle shots or the bird's eye view shots made it really feel like you're watching football. What did you think of the sports scenes?
Yeah, I quite enjoyed them. I have a couple of gripes that I'll reveal later, but again, the best part for me was that they were amateurs and not pros. And the plays I felt reflected that to me, which was a great part of the film.
So to me, Rocky is the modern day pioneer of sports movies. And I feel like that really kind of kicked off, that underdog story, kind of guy comes from nowhere, rags to riches type things, which I really enjoy in my sports movies. Do you like sports movies, Brad? And what type of sports movies do you enjoy watching?
Yeah, I think the rags to riches or the comeback I think is very prevalent in a lot of these sports movies. I did my Mount Rushmore of favorite sports movies of all time. So I had Semi Pro. I really like that one with Will Ferrell. I thought it was a
Yeah.
really nice comedic sports movie. Remember the Titans for me, which is an absolute classic. You obviously mentioned it already, but Rocky, I thought it was, timeless.
Take
But
it to the zoo.
but my favorite, I think, sports movie of all time has to be Any Given Sunday. That one just resonates with me so much.
Okay, there you go. So I tried to just kind of keep one of every different sport, so to speak, but now looking at it, maybe I haven't. So I had Mighty Ducks, basketball, Bloodsport, Remember the Titans, Rocky, Warrior. Probably could fit Any Given Sunday and knock out one of those ones. So, um, honorable mentions to me: Karate Kid, Above the Rim, Cool Runnings, For Love the Game, Draft Day. You a draft day guy, Brad?
I haven't seen Draft Day. No, any
Oh,
good?
you haven't?
Nah.
Well, that could be. Yeah, we'll add
Had
that
it.
to the list. Okay,
Cool,
yeah,
cool
we'll
runnings.
go
I
to
didn't even
that.
think about that. That's a good one. I like that. That's funny.
Who's your favorite NFL quarterback ever?
So my favorite NFL quarterback ever, it just has to be Tom Brady. There's not even a close. But I've I've got an apostrophe for the most entertaining quarterback of all time, and for me it's Mike Vick. So he used to look unstoppable at one point. But most of like what drew me into watching him is that you never know what was going to happen. Like he could scramble 60 yards for a touchdown or throw the worst pass ever for a pick. So it was very entertaining, but Tom Brady for me.
Okay, so surprisingly, I came up with Peyton Manning, who I never probably would have picked, but
What?
it's because he came across to the Broncos and won us the Super Bowl, and then on reflection, I'm like Peyton Manning, but maybe John Elway as well, but I don't know if I watched enough of John Elway. And then for whatever reason, I really love Matthew Stafford. I just think he's a fucking dude. Like I
Yeah,
think he's great.
Stafford is a baller, but I would have had you as John Elway because I think our first Super Bowls that we watched together were those last two
Yeah, first
that
Super
he
Bowl.
won.
Yeah, first Super Bowl over, or first NFL game over, which was '98, I think, and that was John
Hmm.
Elway winning.
Yeah, what a legend. Yeah. What's your favorite NFL play?
I really loved a good flea flicker. I think that's pretty good, or where they
Ooh.
even throw it to the wide receiver and they'll like chuck it down the field. But I also love when one of the big men scores. So like when the no line scores a touchdown, unless I have like that team in my fantasy team, I just love it. I'm like, go big man, go.
Yeah, nice.
What about you?
For me, it's the pick six, man. I love a good pick six. Even better, like you said, when it ends up in the hands of a big guy like a lineman or a linebacker, and better still, when they offload it to a speedy defensive player. So they pick it and then offload it to somebody, and they take it back to the house. That is so awesome. But
Yeah.
it used to be the kickoff. But the kickoff today is just shit. Like, I don't know what they're doing with it. You can't even surprise anyone anymore with an onside kick. They should just do it how they do in college, which is so much better.
If you could play any position in the NFL, Brad, what would it be? And what number would you be?
So back in my heyday, when I was probably in my late 20s in peak physique, I reckon I would have liked to have suited up and played safety in the NFL. I feel like it's less pressure. Like if the running back is coming at me and gets by me, I can say, well, hey, how come the linebackers and the defensive linemen didn't stop him? But I think the biggest aspect of why I like to play the position is I feel like you've got more freedom in your role, so you can sort of move around, look to pick passes or blitz the quarterback. I'd probably wear number 14 as well. So Kyle Hamilton for my Baltimore Ravens. That guy's living my best life right now.
I was kind of similar to you. So I had linebacker or safety. So
Yeah.
I like that you can pick your spots when to attack the quarterback or to play defensive. I think it'd just be pretty cool. I would have number 21, KG, baby, on Tim Duncan, or number 6, just because I like the 6. All right. So getting back into the movie, that was a little bit of a sidestep, but the strike. So I can kind of understand why the players went on strike with a 5 million quarterback salary. I was like, what the fuck? Like, is this, and when they break down all the fees, like agent fees, taxes, etc., like it does take out a little bit. Like, not that I would complain if I'm bringing home a couple $1 million a year. Don't get me wrong, people, but like I understand what they're saying. And for how much of a dick Eddie Martell is, which is the, I guess, antagonist in the movie, he is a 2-time winning Super Bowl, quarterback, an all-pro quarterback. I thought $8 million a year, I assumed, like, that's not too bad. I thought the owner was cheap. And I don't know if you saw earlier in the year when Odell Beckham Jr., who's a wide receiver, previous wide receiver, was breaking down his 5-year, $100 million contract he signed back in the days. Like, firstly, it's about $60 million after tax. And then you spend about $12 million a year on invest. Oh, no, sorry, you got about $12 million a year to invest and save. Then he lost me on the next point, which is like expenses and lifestyle. He's like buying cars, homes, supporting the family. It's all $4 million. I'm like, all right, mate, like maybe you shouldn't buy so many cars and homes, but like I do understand that athletes or the American athletes pay a lot of support to their families, which is going to be tough. And then like cousins, uncle, aunts come out of the woodworks with their hands out. And he also does highlight that, they're not taught finances, so they do waste a lot of the money.
Mm.
However, I then looked up the salaries of quarterbacks in the year 2000. Do you know this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so here are your top salaries for quarterbacks in the year 2000. Peyton Manning, $11 million. Troy Aikman, $7 million. Steve Young, $6.5 million. Brett Favre, $6 million.
The
So like
gunslinger, Favre.
$8 million. I was like, oh, okay, like, yeah,
You're coming
that's
second,
kind
I
of like the
think.
standard rate. Like
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's all right. And then I looked up coaches' salaries in the year 2000. Do you know how much a coach was getting in the year 2000, Brad?
It's probably going to be more than I think. So go.
Mike Holmgren was the top paid coach, earning $4 million as a
Wow.
coach and GM for Seattle.
Wow.
So then I went on a little bit of a deep dive. Do you know what the top coaches are making today, Brad?
I think John Harbaugh's on 20 mil.
Good one. So Andy Reid and John Harbaugh, both on 20 mil, Sean Payton on 18 mil. And then I looked up what the current players are getting. So the highest paid quarterback, Dak Prescott, $60 million. Wide receiver, Jamar Chase, $40 million. Running back, Saquon Barkley, $20 million. I'll skip a few. Let's say offensive tackle, $30 million. Center, $27 million. Linebacker, $20 million. Cornerback, $31 million. Edge rusher, $46 million. And defensive, Micah Parsons. And then defensive interior, which is Myles Garrett, is 31. And then the kicker, Harrison Butker, $6.4 million. So he's getting paid what a quarterback was getting paid in the year 2000.
That's insane.
And then if you were wondering, in this movie, the scabs are getting paid $1,000 a game. So that's $4,000 after taxes. I think somewhere they said like one of them's they're getting paid $5,000, so maybe they get an extra week. So basically, the owner wasn't cheap. The quarterback was just asking for the max or similar to the max. Putting that then into context of what the actors were getting paid at the time, Keanu Reeves was paid $10 million for The Matrix in 1999, and he earned about $40 million from that show. Couldn't look up his salary for this one, but we'll talk about that in a sec. But anything you want to talk about salary-wise?
I may or may not have something on that later.
Okay, cool. So scabs. So they refer to the replacement players in the movie as scabs. So that is a reference to the 1987 lockout where Washington Redskins replaced players for 3 games as there was a strike, and they won all 3 games. Scabs means strike breaker. I'm not really sure how they got strike breaker and scabs, but
It
football
starts with
brains.
an S. I knew
Yeah,
it started with an S.
football.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Yeah. Would you be a scab, Brad?
I probably would. Like, I'd cross the line. So,
No, more so, would you be a replacement player?
oh well, yeah. I mean, if I didn't make it and they gave me an opportunity, absolutely, 100%, I'd take it. So, yeah. How about
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
also be a scab. Um, there have been a number of quarterbacks in movies. Who is your favorite quarterback in a movie?
So it has to be, for me, Steamin' Willie Beeman, the dual threat quarterback, Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson. I love him and I love his character arc in that movie as well as he matures. So for me, he's the best. So
Yeah.
don't want to spoil it for you in case you haven't got him, but who you got?
So yeah, there is. I made a little list. So Willie Beeman, Sunshine, Paul Cruz, Uncle Rico, Johnny Utah, Shane Falco, Flash Gordon. But my number one, Johnny Mnemonics, baby. R.A.P. James Vanderbeek, but
Fast
Johnny
and
Mnemonics,
Furious?
baby, every day. Yeah, every day of the week.
Yeah, nice.
I will say that the worst NFL player in a movie was Ryan Gosling's character who Remember the Titans. He was fucking terrible.
But he's probably been the one out of anybody that's played any sports character to go on to have the best movie career. So I wouldn't be wouldn't feel too bad for him.
Now, whilst we're on the subject, who's your most favorite or believable actor who's played an athlete in a sports movie?
So for me, I had Rod Tidwell from Jerry Maguire. So Cuban Gooding Jr. I love Rod Tidwell. He was so good. He was my favorite.
So I had Burt Reynolds. I had Kevin Costner when he's the pitcher from, what is it? Love of the Game. And then I had Jeremy O'Connell. This is Kush.
Kush slash.
Favorite sporting star in a movie. So somebody who has crossed the line. So I'll name a couple. So Vinnie Jones in Mean Machine, Michael Jordan, O.J. Simpson, Jim Brown, Kevin Garnett, LT, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Who's your favorite sporting star that's become an actor?
Whoa, damn. I didn't know that I could have chosen Arnold because that would have been the answer. But I had the former hard-tackling Wimbledon midfielder turned scene-stealing actor Vinnie Jones. So he exploded on the screens in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels and Snatch. I love his, iconic sort of tough guy, with his lines like, it's been emotional. And he had that same sort of ferocity on the pitch as well. I think he's got the record for the fastest red card or something like that. Isn't Boris the Bullet Dodger? Why do they call him Boris the Bullet Dodger? Because he dodges bullets? I mean, yeah, man. I love Vinnie Jones. He's awesome.
Yeah, no, I had Arnie, but close second, which was more of a cheat just because he's my hero, Kevin Garnett. But
from what is that? That Diamonds
Uncut
one?
Gems.
Uncut Gems.
Most stressful movie I've ever watched in my life. So Shane Falco, what a name. What's your favorite name for a sports character in a movie?
My favorite sporting name is probably Cap Rooney, which is Dennis Quaid in Any Given Sunday.
Good one.
So, I mean, he's the quarterback and he's the captain, and his name is Cap already. Like, I thought that was cool. But if it's not football, it'd be Scootsy Doubleday from Semi Pro. So, Scootsy Doubleday. I thought that was funny as. So, yeah. Who'd you have?
I was boring. I had just Johnny Mox. But then my, I didn't tell you this, my favorite just actual sporting person with the real name, can't go past Joe Montana.
Joe Montana, yeah, that's iconic, eh?
All right, so the classic tropes of sporting movies, turning up at halftime to save the day is one of them. A lot of other ones as well, but I know that you put to me earlier this week, your Mount Rushmore for people turning up at halftime in a sports movie.
Yeah, so I had movies where players show up late and win the day, which seems to be quite a big thing. I actually had this on it as well, the replacement. So Falco returns at halftime in the final game. I had the water boy, I should say, with Bobby Boucher shows up at halftime, and a linebacker wins the day for the game. I had the longest yard where Crew stops throwing the game and the prisoners rally in the second half. But for me, again, it's the number one on the list. It's Any Given Sunday. Willie Beeman taking over at halftime in the final regular season game to get the win. So there's a couple others that I'll shout out. Which is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, where Ace delivers Dan Marino at the halftime for the Super Bowl, the Mighty Ducks, where the Ducks rally in the second half with the new plays in that flying V formation, and Dodgeball, a true underdog story where Peter LaFleur shows up after quitting right before the final match. And also I had Semi-Pro too, where is it Coffee Black changes from the San Antonio Spurs back to the Flint, Michigan Tropics and helps save the day as well. So did you have any others you wanted to add?
Yeah, so I had the same as you. My only one, which I thought was sort of controversial till you sent over the list and there was people that were just not necessarily turning up at halftime. So this is my number one, A League of Their Own. I know she doesn't turn up at halftime, but she goes away from the team and then she turns up for the final.
Okay. I've got one more special shout out, and that's to Chris Ozstriker in American Pie, who abandons his lacrosse championship game to perform a duet with Heather. So I can absolutely see why Stifler used to call him fuckface, because that is a massive dick move. It's bros before hoes, bro. So yeah, shout out to him.
One of the other things I love, which they can do in a movie trope, is pardoning the prisoner to play with the team. I just think it's the fucking best thing ever. I love it how sports movies can do this. It's something that you wouldn't believe they would have done, but, it's great. So I kind of gave a challenge to you to see if we could find if there were any governors in the US who have pardoned someone. I was hoping there might be to play a college game or a high school game or something like that. I couldn't find any, and thank goodness that no governors have done that. But, there are a lot of dodgy governors who've been found guilty for, overbilling for construction. One of the governors sounded like he was doing an Ozark scheme with the Riverboats Casino. Lots of people from the South are governors. I don't know what's going on down there, but from Louisiana and Illinois that were doing, dodgy things. I do have one person that I want to shout out, but did you find any dodgy governors or any kind of politicians across the globe that have done anything to help a sporting team?
Not really, but sort of going on what you're talking about there. I know the Louisiana governor is getting heavily involved in who's hiring the next coach of LSU. So, you're not in sports, mate. You're there to run your state. Like, just stay out of it. No, but did you have any?
There was one guy I just want to shout out, William Boss Tweed. So he's from New York. His Tammany Hall political machine in the late 19th century is the gold standard for U.S. corruption, involving the systematic theft of millions in public funds through overbilling on construction projects like the New York County Courthouse. Now, Tammany Hall. What did Tammany Hall make me think of? In New York.
Don't know.
William Tweed. I was like, William Tweed in Tammany Hall. That sounds familiar. So I quickly did a little Gangs of New York, what the cast members are. And FYI, the governor bloke is, the guy that's rounding up all the voters and stuff. His name's William Tweed and he's like Tammany Hall. So there you go. So one thing that really struck me the first time I saw this movie is, why aren't there more Japanese linemen in the NFL? I understand Japanese as a culture are a little bit shorter, but it's not to say there aren't Japanese basketball players in the NBA. So, why do you think that the NFL haven't tapped into Japan yet? Do you think it's because of the height, or do you think it's something else?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the culture that they're more into baseball because there's quite a lot of Japanese baseballers and potentially sort of soccer players or football players as they're called. But yeah, you're right. There's not really any NFL players. I think Koo, the kicker for the former Falcons order, I think he was Korean. But yeah, you're right. I don't think there's any Japanese players.
Yeah, a couple of Polynesian boys are starting to kind of creep in, and you see some of the Hawaiian boys as well as
Yeah.
linemen. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next number of years. Um, if you're a GM for the team, who are you signing after
Honestly,
the end of the
after the
strike?
end of the season, yeah, after the strike. Honestly, not a single one. I mean, they all have heart, but they're all amateurs. Maybe I could see a case for Falco or Danny, but that's a big maybe. I mean, the deaf tight end, he's a baller as well, but sadly, obviously, couldn't hear many of your calls or audibles. But nah, I had nobody. How about you?
I'm signing the tight end
Yeah,
all
he's a
day, every
baller,
day.
eh? He's a
Yeah, yeah.
baller.
Signing the tight end, and then I may be signing Shane Flacco, but depends how the rest of the playoff go.
Yeah.
But I'm surely Hackman's resigning him, so we'll see. Alrighty, so the cast. So Keith David, love seeing Keith David in a movie. I will say that I have been scarred from Requiem for a Dream, ass to ass. But Brad, Keith David, any thoughts? Otherwise, give us your favorite Keith David movie. Yeah.
For me, I think it's The Thing. I love the movie The Thing. Yeah, I do remember him in Pitch Black, but The Thing I think is a great movie.
Okay. Yeah. So mine is, so I do like him in They Live, which I don't think you've seen, which will be coming on this podcast later. Requiem for a Dream, as I mentioned, I really enjoy as well. But just that opening scene and something about Mary. How'd you get the beans about Frank? It's just, can't get over it.
I forgot about him in that. That is so funny. And like, yeah, and Ben Stiller's like knocking on the door and he's like
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
back at them.
yeah. What do you
What
mean?
do you
She
want?
left with Woogie half
She
an
like a
hour ago.
Woogie. Woogie. I mean Woogie.
So I
And
was,
oh God, that's so good that.
I,
Sorry,
I,
yeah.
I was surprised. I thought you were going to say Cloud Atlas.
Oh, damn. Yeah. All right.
Keanu Reeves, the legend. Like, I swear to God, every time I click on, every time I see an article about Keanu Reeves, it's about him either doing something heroic or I saw something the other day where a fan was talking about how he lost his brother to cancer, but he just loved him, and he's like, if I made your brother smile for one day, that's made me a better person. Like, he's basically like Chuck Norris level stories in the entertainment industry, but it's true about how great he is. I also saw today, funnily enough, he's never been nominated for an Oscar, BAFTA, or any other type of acting award. I did think it was kind of strange, but then I was thinking about all the movies, and I was like, there probably isn't really any movies that he may have been nominated for. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's surprising to hear that he hasn't actually been nominated because he has had quite an illustrious career, one that many people would be envious of. So he has done a couple of franchisey kind of movies, but I think he has done movies outside of that too. So it's surprising to hear that he's never been given the nod.
Yeah, yeah. So 36 at the time of this filming. So to me, prime sort of age for doing this, especially being a quarterback. He was coming off The Matrix, so I would say he was hot as ever. I don't know if I'm stepping on on my own research here, but he took a 90% pay cut for this movie, so then they could fit Gene Hackman in. So the first movie that I saw Keanu in was either Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure or Parenthood. A few months ago, Gary got his first boner. You know what that is? I asked you, Brad, what your favorite comedy action wild card was. So top three sort of in different categories movies for Keanu.
Yeah, so action I had for Keanu was The Matrix. I really enjoy that movie. Comedy, I had Something's Got to Give. I thought he was quite it was a different side to Keanu in that, and that was quite a good movie. And then Wildcard, purely because the movie is such a wild card itself. But A Scanner Darkly, that's just such a bizarro movie, which is actually something that I do quite enjoy.
Yeah, awesome. I had, yeah, Something's Got to Give as well, but I can change that to Parenthood just to make it a little bit different. Action, I had Speed, and then Wildcard, I had The Matrix, but shout out to Scanner Darkly because I love that film, and also shout out to Point Break. I'm trying not to cheat, ladies and gentlemen, so that's why I'm only sticking to three, but if I could have put Point Break in, it would have been it as well. The GOAT, Gene Hackman, two-time Oscar winner, R.I.P. Gene. One of the great actors of his generation, theatre actor. He almost didn't take this role. He was semi-retired, so he was being a little bit picky about what roles he was going to take. He was initially hesitant about doing a sports comedy, but then I guess he read the script and he actually enjoyed all the parts of it. But I was thinking back, I can't think of a bad performance he's done. Like, he's always on. It doesn't matter how bad the film is, he will always shine through and you'll always remember his performance.
Hmm.
Earliest memory for me of Gene Hackman was either Poseidon Adventure or Superman. But what are your thoughts on Gene Hackman?
Yeah. I was thinking about this morning actually on the way to work. He is really good in everything that I've seen him in, and he's got this voice that I think just really resonates. He's so commanding, and he just leaves such a lasting impression. So, I'm sad that obviously he's no longer with us, but I'm very thankful for a lot of the movies that he's done, and there are a few on there that I do quite enjoy.
So he retired from acting in 2004, so 4 years after this movie. So he does 7 more films after this. He goes out with some bangers like Royal Tenenbaums. I don't know if you call Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson a banger, but I quite enjoyed it. Um, Bruce Campbell connection, because we're a Bruce Campbell podcast.
Yeah.
Both are in The Quick and the Dead, although Bruce cameo was cut. Drama, action, wild cards are a little bit different. I put in drama instead of comedy. I will do my one first. So Unforgiven, Crimson Tide, and The Quick and the Dead. Shout out to Superman. And also shout out because he showed that top tier actors could be in a superhero franchise. So he walks so the likes of Jack Nicholson could run. What were your drama action wildcard?
So drama, I had Quick and the Dead. Action, I had Behind Enemy Lines. I really enjoy that movie. And the wild card, we mentioned this on a previous pod, but Enemy of the State. That's such a great movie, and I thought he was excellent in that.
Nice. So Brett Cullen, who was playing the antagonist, what's his name? Martel. I remember him from Dark Knight Rises and The Joker. I thought he was better in both those movies. I thought he was a bit of a miscast, which I'll get into a little bit later. Like, he didn't seem too sporty in his physique. Wasn't sure about the little pussy tickler that he had in terms of the facial hair, but he was fine. What do you think?
Yeah, I got a couple of questions about the overall sort of casting on this movie, but yeah, I mean, it's like it was meh. Like, I hate
Yeah.
that word, but it was meh.
Easy person to hate, so I guess that makes it easy.
Yeah.
Jon Favreau, I think he's always good. Maybe a little bit overqualified for this role, I thought at first, but maybe today when I was thinking on reflection, I was like, oh, it's 2000. Maybe not. Apparently, the Danny Bateman character required finding someone who could be funny but physically imposing. And ladies and gentlemen, that's Jon Favreau, apparently. So there you go. Do love him as a director as well. Elf, Iron Man, and then doing some of the Mandalorian stuff. I will say that Elf is probably my favorite movie that he's directed. Jon Favreau, Brad?
Yeah, no, I thought he was quite good in this, and this was still years away from him becoming part of that MCU sort of universe. I just found him just such a lovable, psychotic linebacker. So, yeah, he was actually quite good in this movie.
Brooke Langton. Any thoughts?
Well, I sat down and started watching this movie, and I thought I'd seen her in some other things, but maybe not really. And then Leanne walks past, and she's like, "Oh my God, it's Brooke! Like, she's in all this stuff, and she was so prevalent in the 2000s or the 90s or whatever." But I don't really remember from too much, so I don't really have too many thoughts.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of research because she was in the Hulk and Benchwarmers. I think I maybe remember her from Benchwarmers, but they're the only two movies that I'd seen. Apparently, she's pretty big in Melrose Place, but that was a little bit before my time.
Yeah.
I remember like the older kids watching it, but more so I remember them watching like 90210 and Baywatch. So
Yeah,
yeah,
we didn't really get into Melrose Place. Yeah, we were
no,
so yeah, we were more those other ones, 90210 for sure, and
I will
Baywatch.
say, her character has the willpower of a goldfish.
Yeah, I've got a comment on that later.
So directed by Howard Deutsch. He seemed like a little bit of a TV director. He was in some other movies, but the only thing I remembered him from was Getting Even with Dad with Ted Danson and Macaulay Culkin. That was a big movie
Yes,
in our household when we were
yes.
young. But any thoughts on the director?
Yeah, no, I bolded that one as well. Getting Even with Dad, I remember that movie quite well. I remember Grumpy Old Men, which he did too. And
Is that the one on the boat?
I've seen both. There's Grumpy Old Men and Grumpier Old Men, so
Okay.
I'd have to rewatch it. I have seen the whole 9 yards, but he did direct the whole 10 yards, which I haven't seen.
Oh
So
yeah, I saw that too.
you have?
Yeah,
Okay, great.
I was waiting for like I saw that it was the whole 10
Oh,
yards.
okay, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So as I mentioned, like cable TV really helped this movie, and that's where I kind of saw it first on Foxtel, as you were talking about last week, seeing some of the movies. In terms of production, seemed like a really fun set. Like all the characters bonded really well, like a sports team, so to speak. They're all going out for dinner together. They're like doing practices together. Apparently, like the dancing in the jail scene was just heaps of fun, and a lot of they had to do a number of takes because they kept breaking characters. As I mentioned, Keanu took a 90% pay cut for the film. He also trained extensively with quarterback Steve Walsh. No idea who Steve Walsh is, but he was throwing lefty, and he learnt to throw some lefty, and those actual passes were of him. So those spirals were Keanu going down the line. Now, interestingly enough, lefty quarterback there's been a couple of lefty quarterbacks because, as you rightly pointed out before, Willie Beeman, your favorite, was also lefty. So I did a little bit of a deep dive, and according to Google AI, lefties are overrepresented in the acting world. So to give you a couple of lefties, Keanu Reeves, Jennifer Lawrence, Hugh Jackman, Angelina Jolie, Robert De Niro, Morgan Freeman, Sarah Jessica Parker, and her husband, Matthew Broderick. And as I mentioned, we can add in Jamie Foxx to that list.
Wow, that's quite a list. I didn't realize there was so many lefties, and actually got me thinking about lefty quarterbacks too. Like I mentioned before, Mike Vick, but I think Steve Young was a lefty, and I think Dan Marino was a lefty as well. So yeah. And I think Michael Penix is a lefty too. So yeah, there's a few lefty quarterbacks out there
Yeah,
as
so
well.
is Tua and his shit.
he's he's gone.
So the football, filming of the football scene. So they filmed it in a real stadium. I'm going to guess it's Baltimore. I couldn't quite figure out which stadium it was.
You'd be 100% correct.
Okay.
It's the Baltimore Ravens home stadium.
Yeah, I
Woo!
was looking at it again today when I was watching it, and I was like, oh, those stands up the top, they like the ones kind of, behind the goalpost. I was like, yeah, that kind of looks like the Ravens. The choreography, like really cool, like keeping it realistic, for the actors. And they like mixed in real actors with athletes as well.
Mhm.
Keanu did all his stunts as well. And then the other thing I found was that they kept referencing Shane Flacco's meltdown in the 1996 Sugar Bowl. That's because there was no 1996 Sugar Bowl. There was like a change in the schedule, and then it was put on like the 1st of January or February. So it meant that it skipped into the next year. So they just missed a year, so to speak.
Mhm.
Any production, funny, weird things or anything else that you want to share?
Just a couple. You already mentioned some of it. But the NFL refused to cooperate with the production because of their actual real life strike that they had that you mentioned earlier with the Washington Redskins. So that's why they used completely fictional teams and logos. Reese Efans, who played Nigel Goff, a lot of his lines were improvised. And also found it weird that weird or could have gone into a different direction, I guess, but the film originally had a more dramatic tone before rewrites pushed it into a full comedy.
Awesome. You're the numbers man, so can you break down the box office and budget?
So this movie had a budget of $50 million and drum roll, it grossed worldwide $50.1 million. So
Hey,
it basically broke even. So it's not a bomb, but it's definitely not a hit. It's just one of those early 2000s sort of mid-tier comedies that found its real audience later on cable, DVD, and that Sunday afternoon rewatch culture, like you mentioned before, like, maybe something you'd probably see on Foxtel later on. But I don't know if you're driving or going out of your way to go see it in the cinemas. So
top 10 top 10 highest grossing movies of the year. Mission Impossible 2, Gladiator, Castaway, What Women Want, Dinosaur, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Meet the Parents, The Perfect Storm, X-Men, What Lies Beneath. Fuck yeah, what a year.
yeah, it's good. There's some other great movies in there too. Remember the Titans we talked about. Charlie's Angels. That was the first one for Charlie's Angels. Unbreakable. Snatch. Pitch Black.
Oh, yeah.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Aaron Brockovich as well. American Psycho. I don't know if you mentioned that one too.
So Oscar Awards didn't win any Oscars. I don't think it was nominated. Wasn't also nominated for anything. 73rd Oscars. So Gladiator won Best Picture. Hell yeah. And Steven Soderbergh for Traffic won Best Director. Shout out Jeffrey Rush, because we're a Jeffrey Rush podcast here. Nominated for Best Actor in Quills. Have you seen Quills, Brett?
No, I haven't actually. No, I
haven't won. Russ won for Gladiator.
Rusty.
Aussie. Do you think they should have been nominated for any Oscar awards or any egregious winners from that year?
No, not egregious. The actual note I wrote was no, not even close. 0 nominations. But I mean, I could potentially see a Best Supporting Actor for Jon Favreau, as Danny Bateman, maybe, but that's a huge what if.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's all I really had. But I don't think it's Oscar worthy, sadly. Did you have any Oscars or gripes or anything?
No gripes or anything. Just shout out to Jeff again. Love you, Jeff. So
can we do a pod where we don't mention his name? The answer is
I know.
No.
Not yet. Hopefully next week or next fortnight. So favorite scenes. So I'll just go through the scenes. So opening scene of the play, Martell gets some shit from the owner from not sliding. For sliding. I thought then to modern day NFL you should be sliding.
Yeah.
Then the player strike erupts. Keanu on his boat gets brought out of retirement. The Misfits tryout. I enjoy when he turns up in the car and there's the I guess the baddies, which are the players that come over and flip his car. I will say one quick thing. Did you see one of the players is like dressed as Macho Man Randy Savage in like both scenes that they flip his car?
No, I have to go back and see
Go back and watch. There's a guy, he's wearing a cowboy hat, and that's why I was wearing the cowboy hat when I drank the call today, and like a red sort of see-through kind of top. Just very weird. Cheerleaders audition. Love it when the like chicks are all singing and just completely terrible singers. The first game, they lost, but I really enjoyed because I was getting very annoyed watching it this time. We were all just chatting in the huddle. I was like, this is more than 30 seconds. Loved it that the ref threw a flag. I did think that Bateman probably would have got it rejected for the hit on the quarterback and then punching another player.
100%. It's a day's game for sure.
Yeah, and then probably suspended for the rest of the 3 games. Yeah. So neither here nor there. The team bar fight and bonding. Love it again when the bad guys walk into a room. This is where I said I was getting confused between a high school, college movie or professional NFL movie. One of my favorite scenes, the dancing in the prison cell.
Mm-hmm.
I will say though that what's his name? Franklin, like what a pussy during the fight, like hiding behind the
Hiding behind the
counter.
jukebox.
And then they
Yeah.
call him out, and then he gets away with not being a pussy by putting in a musical number.
I'll break into song.
Yeah,
I'll see what
exactly.
happened. Yeah.
So game two, the ugly win. Love it when a big man scores, when he chucks it at the defender and then the big man catches it. And then the other two guys are just like blocking him all the way in. The cheerleaders dance in that second game. Absolutely great. One of my favorite quote. That's bullshit. One girl slapped another girl's ass, Jimmy.
Great scene.
Flacco and Annabelle connect. So remember when he first says, she's like, I don't date players. He's like, I'm a quarterback, especially quarterbacks. Well, that didn't last long, as I said. She comes over to his boat to tell him how great he is. So game three, momentum rises. They're starting to get Franklin to finally start catching the ball. After that game, you'll get Martell crossing the line and returns to the facility.
And he was an
Flacco gets
absolute dick to Falco in that scene there. Remember, he's like, "Oh, it's just they shouldn't have got you to believe in yourself or whatever." He was such a dick.
yeah. I don't know why Falco got like. Well, I understand he got benched, but why did he leave the team? Surely he'd be a backup. Like the guy hasn't played in a couple of weeks.
I've
Wouldn't
got
you
an
need
area
him?
of grievance on that later.
Okay. So then game four, the team falls apart. Then you get Falco returning at halftime. Wasn't quite sure why he ran onto the field, pashed Annabelle first, and then decided to start playing the game. I kind of feel like the kiss is for the final game. And then there's the game-winning drive where he wants the ball because, as Hackman tells him, winners want the ball.
Yeah.
And then my favorite, bring back the dance at the end.
Yeah.
What are your favorite scenes?
I think everyone loves the Falco turning up, I think, at halftime to win the game, and then making amends with Annabelle and the final game-winning drive. I do like the bar fight with the followed on with the team building in the prison cell when they're dancing later on. And I think the first Misfits tryout when they're showing you all the oddballs that they've got all together, I thought was pretty good. But do you want me to go into my favorite scene now, or do you want to tell your favorite scenes first, or?
No, you go into your favorite scene.
Okay, great. So the Hans Gruber, the slowly falling off a building face moment that stole the movie intentionally or unintentionally. I love the backstory montages. So I think that always works well in every movie, and it was just awesome. So you got Danny Bateman as the SWAT trainer, Nigel Groff in the bar, Clifford Franklin chasing down the thief, and you got the Jackson brothers, who were the bodyguards for a rapper. I love it. Like, this is what they're doing at the time, and then they've all got the call, and they're all going off to have an NFL career.
Yeah, I forgot to mention it earlier. I love a movie like with a bit of an all-star cast. I wouldn't say this would be an all-star cast, but I would say it was a bro hangout. Like I love just hanging out with the boys, and everyone has their quirks. Like you're saying, like one guy's really fast, he can't catch. Bateman can't control like his emotions,
Yeah.
etc. I did a top movie all-star cast. Not in any particular order, but these are sort of my favorites. So Ocean's 11 franchise, Cannonball, Rat Race, the one with, Rowan Atkins.
Yes.
Or Rowan Atkinson. Longest Yards, Remember the Titans. I think this would be my favorite one. This is the End. And then all the Avenger movies. I did put a little shitty, not so good movie, Monument Men. Or what is it? Monuments Men?
Yeah.
Didn't quite like it. So my...
Oh, I've got a favorite movie on that.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mentioned Rat Race too. Yeah, I still remember when I was actually at the cinemas, I went to see it with a bunch of friends at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, it's got John Cleese, and it's got this, and it's got that, it's got that. Like, I couldn't believe how many stars are in that movie. But for me, my favorite multicast movie has to be The Departed. You got Leonardo DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, Mark Wahlberg, Martin Sheen, Alec Baldwin. Man, what a cast.
As I say every week, this is why you're on the big box, mate. So for me, the Hans Gruber, I really enjoyed all the sporting scenes. As I mentioned, they were shot really well. The cheerleading dancing, especially in the second game when they're distracting all the players and
Ooh,
stuff, is
baby.
just when I was watching this time, I started sweating. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about this
Start
part.
hyperventilating.
Yeah. I was like, oh, I forgot this. I should have been watching this movie more. But to me, it was the dancing scenes. I just love seeing grown men dance.
Yeah.
Best quote. So I've got a couple. Is lap dancing a style? Winners always want the ball when the game is on the line. Don't do anything great if you can't handle the congratulations. Fucking love that one. I thought that was great. That's some deep shit, Shane. After this is explaining the quicksand fear. Coach, I look like I just chopped off an elephant. And then my favorite, pain heals, cheek deep scars, glory lasts forever.
Yeah, nice.
What was your favorite quote or quotes?
I had two. So I had, it's funny. The first time I heard it, I thought it was a little bit cheesy, but the second time I watched it, I thought actually it was quite good. And that's the voiceover of Hackman when he goes, but what they didn't know was that their lives had changed forever because they've been part of something great, and greatness, no matter how brief, stays with a man. Every athlete dreams of a second chance. These men lived it. So, it got me thinking about my own sort of personal sports stories, which I won't go into because they're so amateur. But I do think about it every now and then, like back when I played rugby or whatever sport, volleyball or something like that. But my favorite quote was definitely "Pain heals, chicks see scars, glory lasts forever." So I had that as my favorite quote too. That was good.
Nice, Brad. If only coach would have put you in, hey? You'd
Yeah,
be, yeah. All right.
I'd still be doing what I'm doing today.
Best song. I was going to learn the lines to the Orange Cactus chant that the chick does, but could be bothered. But I did think that the soundtrack rocks. I will just list off I Will Survive. I love a good, dance scene. Good Vibrations, the 90s song, when they hit the winning field goal, so good. You're Unbelievable. And then Even Heroes. I won't say my favorite song yet, but I think that you're going to choose Every Breath You Take. But what's your favorite song?
I've got Every Breath You Take bolded, but that's only because it is probably my favorite song out of the songs there. But the rock and roll Gary Glitter, the hey,
Oh, yeah.
like that's a great song. Bohemian Like You by the Dandy Warhols was great. We talked about it. Every Breath You Take by the Police. I Will Survive by Gloria Gaynor. But for me, the song that summed this movie up was Heroes. If we could be heroes,
Yeah.
just for one day. So yeah, that was really good. I
I
thought.
was getting a little bit nervous because I thought you were going to say my song then, but my favorite song has got to be Blinded by Rainbows, The Rolling Stones.
Oh yeah, that's good too. I love the Rolling Stones. We grew up. For those that don't know, me and you grew up on the Rolling Stones.
Yeah. So pre-2000s, I know this is 2000, but what's the most pre-2000 thing about this movie?
I had three things. I had the wind-up disposable camera that Frank was taking photos of from the bus. I remember them. You just don't see them anymore because I was
Still get them at weddings every now and then.
Oh, do you? Yeah. We talked about it before. NFL contracts. Like back in the day, they were $8 million per year for a quarterback. Now they're like $60 million a year for a quarterback. Like that has gone up so much. And we touched on it too. I love John Madden and Pat Summerall, portraying themselves like they were iconic, sports announcers for NFL back in the day.
Nice one. I had Gene Hackman's outfit and not wearing a headset, which sort of frustrated me through in the movie. And then there wasn't much training staff. There didn't seem there like just one coach for each sort of offense, defense. Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
The Benjamin Button. So what's aged the best for you?
I love this category for this one. I had beating the Dallas NFL team. In real life, they're the Dallas Cowboys with the most obnoxious fan base in the NFL, if not pro sports. They literally think that they will win the Super Bowl every year when they absolutely stink up the joint. As my mate Mike Wilborn was saying, they are garbage. And this movie has a bunch of replacements playing against a full pro NFL team. And because the Dallas team walked over the picket line, so they're all playing their first team against the B team, and they still lost. Made my fucking day.
Nice one. I had smoking ciggies while practicing, just great. The dance scenes in sports movies, I think just dance scenes in any movie works for me. Shane Falco, just strong name. Stripping cheerleaders, definitely something there to
Ooh.
distract the players. I had to look up the rating of this movie because I thought it was PG when they were doing some of those moves. Like, whoa, wait, it is M. So, a couple of years away from the girls from watching it. What about what's aged the best? Sorry, what's aged the worst?
So I had what aged the worst is I've never been a fan of unions. And you were talking about it earlier, so I didn't want to say too much. But I said, like, like if you're good at your job, no employer will ever fire you. Like it's the lazy ones that are crap that need to band together to ensure that they don't lose their jobs. I get it. Unions did serve a purpose in the past, which we're all grateful for, but their time is over, especially at the NFL level, pardon me, when they're trying to drum up support, public support, for more money. You mentioned it too, you stole it, but Odell Beckham Jr. said on multiple platforms that a 5-year, $100 million NFL contract doesn't last a lifetime once he gets his taxes and his agent fees and lifestyles and short career windows are factored in. You know, come on, bro. Like, even if you got 20 million at the end of the day, like you could live on that for the rest of your life. So, you're never going to get public support from the fans going like, oh yeah, maybe they should get paid more when, petrol prices are going up, food's going up, interest rates are going up. Like you're just never getting that public support. So don't even waste your time.
I had, and you'll love my last one, I think. But my first one is Gun on a Team Bus. Hate to see it, like what is his name? Gilbert Arenas, I think, stuffed that up for the Washington Bullets.
Yes. I
Uh,
remember that.
what about, what's her name? Is it Annabelle? What's the chick's name?
Yeah. Annabelle's the Falco love
Yeah.
interest. Yeah.
Not using insider knowledge to win big in Vegas. Like, great opportunity for her to put, like, when she's like, oh, this guy's definitely playing. The other trainer told me, like, go make some money, babe.
Yeah.
Concussion jokes probably don't age too well. Like,
Haven't aged
everyone
well at
kept getting
all.
concussed in the movie. And then my favorite one, Dallas being world champions.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's aged the worst.
Oh my God. Worst fan base, I
Who
swear.
who are you having a beer with?
I I chose Nigel the Leg Gruff. The dude would be the best hang. He'd be the best night out. Tons of laughs and memories that you would remember for a lifetime. He just seems like he could just go off. He'd be so much fun.
I had the O line, but no guns rule. You're not allowed to bring a gun into the pump with you. And if they didn't agree to that, I was like, awesome, I'm going to go for a beer with the cheerleaders. Go cast. So if you were the casting director, would you recast or add anyone in? So as I sort of mentioned at the start, I would recast Brett Cullen or Martell. I just didn't think he was believable. So I had a look. Chris Pine was 45 at the time, but I had a look at some of his photos. He looks pretty young. Old man Dennis Quaid was 45 at the time of Any Given Sunday. So I probably would have casted Chris Pine if I could have. And then the only other person that I would have cast is Jon Favreau. I think I would have cast him with like a wrestler, like someone like Goldberg, maybe just someone a little bit
Mm.
more jacked and a little bit more taller. But I guess they were my only casting redos. What about you?
My one's controversial. I really only had one, but I honestly don't hate me. I love Keanu Reeves, but I don't like him in this movie.
Mate, he was
So
throwing all the spirals, perfect spirals.
I know, but I think it would have worked a lot better if you had like Josh Arnett, as Shane Falco. So, yeah, like I said, I don't know if it was a great role for Keanu at the time, or even in reflection. I don't know if he's, talking about this on his resume.
Josh Hartnett is thick, so I do love him. He's great. What character would Bruce Campbell have played? So I had Eddie Martell. So he was 41 at the time, Bruce. So he may not have been in the best shape as what he was, in his 20s. He's 6'1", so I think he could have been kind of tall for an actor. But I think that's where I'm going to be leaning for this one. I would have him as the antagonist. I think he would be really good with some of the comedy, and one of the one-liners kind of giving it to Falco and the team.
All right. I had Bruce Campbell as an assistant coach being told to report back to the club executives of the Washington Sentinels, working out any potential trade value they might have after the strike. So it's not Evil Dead, everyone, so you can relax. But I got an homage to Escape from LA, where Bruce Campbell plays the Surgeon General of Beverly Hills. So I've got Bruce Campbell as the coach, watching the first practice and going, these are no good. Campbell shakes his head as Clifford Franklin drops another catch. You couldn't give them away. And this one, I can do nothing with this one, as Jumbo Fukunawa brings up his egg-inspired breakfast over the field. I can't work with garbage like this. As he turns to report back to the board about the absolute shit he has to work with, he notices Shane Falco quickly scramble and deliver a strike as Danny Bateman smashes into the ground. Campbell perks up and smiles. Now these two, they look very good. My God, that hit was real.
Brilliant. Great. What's your porn title?
I had my porn title is The Replacements, a collection of porn movies where the male talent creams too early or goes flaccid, so the guy holding the flashlight is the stand-in cock for the female talent.
What's that movie? Orgasmo? Stunt cock. Stunt cock.
Yeah.
I had The Replaceables. The Replaceables. Male entertainment actors go on strike, so the adult film industry brings in average Joe scabs to keep the industry alive.
Oh, you done it again. The Replaceables. Oh my God. That's good.
I thought of that on the bus this morning. I was typing it up and I was like, I hope no one's looking at my laptop.
I hope the businessman isn't prying at my phone as I type this up.
Well, he did have a nice Rolex watch on.
Yeah.
The best outfit prop. So what are you keeping or what's going straight to the pool room?
I had Shane Falco's 1995 or was it 1996 All-American Team Trophy. That's the silver football he finds in the ocean at the start of the movie. So, I mean, it's at the bottom of the ocean. No one wanted it anyway, but I'll take that.
Do you find that weird that trophy was there considering that wasn't his boat?
I've got it in my airing grievances. Do we get into it now? Or
no. So I just had the Shane Falco jersey. The Frederick Zula. So who was the best performance on or off screen?
I had Jon Favreau. I found him big and bold and unforgettable. He was a standout for me.
I had Gene Hackman. Or I had the dancing scenes. As I said, I'm a dancer at heart. Not really, but just love him. What happens after the credit stops? Where do you think the characters end up?
I had Shane marries Annabelle. Shane marries Annabelle. They buy a slightly bigger boat and have two kids, a daughter named Harbor Falco and a son named Skipper Falco. Annabelle still runs the bar. Shane still cleans the boats, and every now and then he gets recognized and reminds him of glory days. Danny Bateman goes straight back into law enforcement, returning to his career as a SWAT officer. Every now and then you'll catch him tackling an unarmed suspect to remind him of his linebacker days on the Sentinels. Clifford Franklin returns to the life at the grocery store. Whenever he's stocking shelves and drops groceries on the floor, he's reminded of his wide receiver days. Nigel Groff, he's dead. He's a gambling debt caught up to him. And he's rumored he's been buried in a concrete mafia style. And Coach McGinty retired to a small lakeside town in Maryland, living quietly, fishing in the mornings, watching football in the afternoons. He later starred in the ESPN documentary 30 for 30, The Replacements, 4 weeks in November.
Nice one. They re-signed Shane Falco and he basically becomes Steve Young. I also had the owner dies and is purchased by Donald J. Trump. And now whatever's happening today doesn't happen. He's the NFL's problem. And the other one I said is after Falco's NFL career, he retires and he coaches Ohio State. Go Buckeyes. Theory corner. So my theory corner will mean absolutely nothing to you because you haven't seen Point Break. But my theory corner is Shane Falco and Johnny Utah a parallel universe or a universe if Johnny Utah never gets hurt? So you get to see the butterfly effect of the bowl game, and then he gets to come out of that disastrous knee blow up. He never has that. He just has a terrible game, but then he gets back into the NFL that way instead of become an FBI agent. Did you have any theory corner, Brad?
Yeah, I did actually. I had a real life replacement story. So I don't know if you remember this person. It was quite a while ago. It was Kansas State quarterback L. Roberson. I feel like he should have got a shot. So Roberson was a dual threat quarterback who torched number one Oklahoma in the 2003 Big 12 championship, won MVP, and briefly looked like the next great running passing hybrid before the NFL knew what to do with them. But sadly, in the space of a few days, everything collapsed for him. So there was a Fiesta Bowl accusation that led to no charges, but it still cost him his scholarship, his reputation, and his draft stock. He went from mid-round sleeper with Vic-like upside to don't touch overnight. So it's a guy who had talent, had the moment, but lost everything because of timing and perception. So, yeah, it's a little bit of a sad story. But then I was thinking about like other people that potentially didn't make it too. Like Johnny Manziel sort of didn't make it. He had his demons. Tim Tebow, who we both love, I feel he got pretty dogged pretty hard, especially when he won a playoff game.
He wasn't. I would say both of them aren't very good quarterbacks.
Timmy Tebow's a winner.
I wouldn't be hanging my flag on that.
He's a winner. Terrell Pryor and Troy Smith, they had some issues too. But they all got their shot in the NFL. That's why I went with L. Roberson. But Marcus Vick as well, which is a brother of Michael Vick. At one point, he was projected to be a future first rounder as well, but he had suspensions, legal issues, and immaturity pretty much nuked his career before it even started. But I was going to say, I've got sort of a question for you, but I'll give you the answer as well. But what's our real life replacement stories? Like our shoot our shot, so obviously you and I are doing this podcast, but Kyle and Jackie O recently had a falling out. So I mean, if Kiss FM reached out and said, hey, do you guys want to fill in them for a couple of weeks, like be their replacements until they sorted it out? Like, would you put your job on hold for a couple of weeks and you and me do that show for a couple of weeks?
Well, yeah, fuck yeah, for a 5-year, $100 million contract.
Well, they're not going to pay us that. They'll probably be paying us a 5-year, $1,000 a year contract. But
I guess that would be ARN's problem. Then I'd be like, well, I want the Carl money, mate.
That dancing money.
Yeah. One thing I do know about the NFL: no matter how shit you are as a person, if you're a good football player, someone will sign you. John Toretto. So, what's your life lesson?
My life lesson is that everybody is replaceable. I think people think that they're the best ever. And if they pick it against their job, that they think that the company's going under. Like, I hear it all the time when people are disgruntled before they quit a job. They're always like, quote, this place will fall apart when I leave. But no, mate, they'll be fine. In fact, they'll probably be forgotten within a month. Everybody's replaceable.
Good one. Actually, you just made me think of one then, which could be my new one. Grass isn't always greener.
Yeah.
Grass isn't always greener. But my one was, don't let fear make you miss out on your second chance. And it's not about the money.
Yeah.
Bullshit. Alrighty.
Got to pay for that Porsche and Ferrari upgrades, mate.
Yeah. Airing of grievances. I've got a lot of problem with you people. Okay, I'll go through my ones and then you go through yours. So, eating the fried food during the lunch at the practice facility, like surely, like did you see they're eating like spring rolls and ribs and stuff like that? Like surely in the 2000s we were
sort of health conscious.
Who put the tripwire out for Favreau when he falls over in the first game? Like they never show like the culprits or like a payoff scene of like, Martel or whatever and all his mates like high-fiving each other. I just thought that was a bit weird. How much did the players get paid? So I thought it was like 5K. And also how much time do they have? So the players play a game, they go on strike. So I'm going to give the movie grace. Let's say there's a bye. So they have 10 days before their first NFL game. Are they actually going to be like NFL fit and like have a game plan in place? I don't know. But the biggest one for me is the NFL blunders during the show. Now, I am a armchair couch fan or whatever the saying is. So I don't know the rules of the NFL, but I do know a couple. Practicing in their stadium, like what the fuck? They don't practice in their stadium. They practice on a practice field. The no headset on Gene Hackman, I was a little bit like W2F, but the biggest one for me was the timeouts. Why was there a timeout after an onside kick? And why was there a timeout after Bateman strips the ball? Like, the clock's not running, like WTF.
I had that as well. Unnecessary timeouts. You do not need to call a timeout after a kickoff. The clock already stops. And I also had Falco was on the field for the onside kick. No quarterback ain't doing that. You're not risking
I
your
had that
quarterback.
I was like, why was Falco like half the team on? He's like, get down. I was like, are you guys laddering and he's going to throw it downfield? Like, doesn't make any sense.
And again, like, I mean, we're not like, NFL coaches, but I think I was thinking about this on the metro on the way home. I think our level of expertise is in NFL. It's probably like a 4 out of 5. Like, it's pretty decent. So, like, I'm sure most Americans will be asking these same questions as well.
Now, we are running out of categories. I was hoping to do a live draft whilst we're on here. Bloody Steve or Slippery, whatever the guy's name is, hasn't picked. Anyway, letterbox rating.
Oh, should we go into my areas of experiences?
Oh, yep, sorry.
Yeah. I gotta say, Gene Hackman looking too Vince Lombardi looking. Like, the other coaches wore trackies and, like you said, had headsets. Like, he's just like have the piece of paper and the hat and stuff. I mean, it's 2000. I mean, that's more like 1950s, 60s kind of look.
There was, though, a 49ers. I don't know when he was that wore like a suit on the sideline, but I don't remember what year it was. I would say it's 90s, but anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think I remember who he was. He was like the Jacksonville Jaguars like ex-coach or something like that. Yeah. I remember who he was. I had Falco rocking up at the second half too quick from his boat. Like he's watching the game and then he like leaves his boat, drives to the stadium, gets ready, he's ready to play for the second half. And then we talked about it before. Like, did he get cut? Like, couldn't he just been the backup? Like, he didn't. Did he need to get cut and then come back? Maybe he could have been like, any given Sunday where he saw the backup still. Had Falco stood Annabelle up, but she was totally cool with it when he rocked up in the second half. Like, I'm sorry, if you stand up a lady, gents, they are going to be pissed. And then we also talked about it before, but the trophy at the start of the movie, like, that's his trophy. It had Shane Falco on it. So like, did he throw it away or like, I don't know, why is it at the bottom of the ocean? So yeah, I don't know.
Just grievances. There you go. Letterbox rating. What are you giving it, Brad?
Don't hate me, but I gave it 2 stars, and I had
Here we go. Roger Ebert.
I had replaceable as the as the letterbox name. No, honestly though, I thought it was broad, good-natured sports comedy, predictable but easy to follow and enjoy. While it never reaches the depths of sophistication of more serious football dramas, it's accessible football action that makes it a bit of a crowd pleaser.
Nice. I gave it 3 jizzes. Didn't really have any catchphrase for it. Probably gave it half a point too much, but there you go. Rewatchable, or what would you pair it with? So I enjoyed watching it. As I said, enjoyed it the second time. I think it's one of those ones where more so it's a cable movie. Like if you flick onto it, you'll stay onto it. You're not going to, from a streaming perspective, just like look it up and be like, yeah, sweet, let's watch the rewatchable. So I think that might hurt its rewatchable factor. And then in terms of movies that I'm pairing it with, I had Any Given Sunday.
Mm, nice. Yeah, I had like rewatchability. I mean, it is genuinely fun, but it's also a bit messy and predictable, and it's a bit thin once the nostalgia wears off. So it is a good time, a light watch with a few great moments. But when I was rewatching it, I've probably watched it 3 times now. Like that last time was a bit of a struggle to watch. But I think the perfect pairing is The Waterboy, which is the same era, the same sort of football energy, the same underdog charm. If you want something a little more grounded, you mentioned it there, Any Given Sunday, which is pure popcorn with the best halftime speech in movie history. And Semi Pro is another one to pair it with too if you want a different sport. Hilarious movie.
Yeah, nice. Go sports, go arts. How good when they mesh them all together. All right, guys, mailbag. Any mailbag for us this week, Brad?
No.
Poor us. We're like the ladies waiting for their husbands to return from the war. We just keep standing out waiting for you guys to send us an email. Well, alrighty, boys and girls, that's going to be another episode for In the Mood for a Movie. Thanks so much for hanging with us. I hope you had as much fun listening as we did rambling. Next week, Brad, do you know what we're doing next week?
Mystic River.
Yeah,
Sean
Mystic
Penn.
River. Haven't seen it before. Tim Robbins as well, I saw was in the movie,
Yes,
so looking
Tim
forward to
Robbins.
that. Look, if you've got any thoughts, hot takes, movie suggestions, as I mentioned, send us an email or send us an Instagram, in the mood for a movie at gmail.com or in the mood for a movie. Like and subscribe, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. But that's it for us today. I'm Jez. That's been Brad, and we'll catch you next time.
Touchdown dance, baby.
See you, everyone.
Bye.